Have you ever noticed how much energy we waste explaining ourselves to people who were never really listening in the first place? Think about it. How often have you found yourself justifying your choices, defending your dreams, or waiting for someone's approval before going after what you truly want? Here's the truth. Every moment spent trying to prove yourself to others is a moment stolen from your own growth. It's time to shift that energy inward. Because real progress doesn't come from explaining, it comes from doing. Success isn't built on convincing others you're capable. It's built on consistent action, quiet discipline, and the commitment to show up for yourself, even when no one's watching. Most people don't get what they want in life because they're too distracted. They lose themselves in the noise, endless scrolling, constant comparison, and seeking validation from people who don't even have their best interests at heart. And in the end, they feel drained, frustrated, and stuck. But when you cut through the noise, when you stop explaining, stop defending, and start focusing on what actually matters, you become unstoppable. Because here's the reality. Success is forged in silence. It's built in the early hours, in the moments of solitude, in the daily choices no one else sees. It's not about having an audience. It's about having integrity. It's about showing up, even when there's no applause. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. What you need is consistency. The more you invest in your own growth, your discipline, your learning, your mindset, the more your life begins to align. Opportunities appear. Confidence grows. Not because someone said you're worthy, but because you've proven it to yourself through action. And no, this isn't about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about protecting your energy. It's about being intentional with your time and selective with your attention. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every distraction deserves your focus. And not every person deserves access to your mind. When you learn to guard your focus, you gain control over your life. And the most powerful part? When you stop announcing your every move and start working in silence, your results speak volumes. People will notice. They'll wonder how you did it. But you won't need to explain a thing because your actions will say it all. So here's your challenge. Stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop worrying about what others think. Stop waiting for permission. Do the work. Focus on yourself. Show up daily. And trust that when you do, things will begin to fall into place. Your energy is one of the most powerful forces you have. And most people have no idea how much control they actually hold. Every thought, every action, every choice, it's all shaping your future. But too many people are directing their energy toward the wrong things. They focus on what's missing instead of what's possible. On distractions instead of discipline. On opinions instead of progress. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The truth is, your life reflects what you consistently give your attention to. Feed your mind negativity, you'll see more of it. Surround yourself with the wrong people, your growth will stall. Waste time on things that don't serve you, your future will mirror that. But shift your focus toward becoming, toward growth, learning, and excellence, and your world transforms. This isn't just motivational talk. It's neuroscience. Your brain is wired to find more of what you focus on. It's called the reticular activating system. It filters your reality based on your dominant thoughts. That's why when you're thinking about buying a specific car, you suddenly see it everywhere. Your mind seeks alignment with your attention. Now imagine what happens when you train your mind to focus on opportunity instead of fear, solutions instead of problems, discipline instead of distraction. You start attracting the life you actually want, rather than settling for what the world hands you. But it starts with ownership, with taking responsibility for your focus. Most people wake up and give their energy away to news, to social media, to drama, to noise. Don't be most people. Be the one who takes control, who protects their energy, who shows up with purpose. Because the moment you do, everything begins to shift. And then we wonder why we feel drained. But here's the truth. Your energy is your responsibility. No one else will protect it for you. If you want to change your life, you have to be intentional about what you allow into your mind and into your space. That means setting boundaries, clear, unapologetic boundaries. It means saying no to things that don't align with your vision. It means surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow, not those who keep you stagnant. It means replacing complaints with action, trading excuses for discipline, and swapping distractions for deep focus. Because when you do that, when you consistently feed your mind with the right thoughts and shape your life with the right habits, results follow. And when the results start to show, everything begins to shift. Suddenly, the things that once bothered you, they lose their grip. The negativity that used to drain you, It barely registers. And the people who doubted you, they become background noise. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You trained yourself to focus on what actually matters. You stopped scattering your energy and started directing it with purpose. And that focus starts to transform your entire reality. This is why success isn't luck. It's alignment. Alignment between your mindset, your actions, and your energy. When those are in sync, momentum builds. And you don't have to know every step of the journey. You just have to be intentional with where you place your focus. Because at the end of the day, you're always feeding something, your future or your fears. So ask yourself, what are you choosing to feed? What are you choosing to focus on? That choice is shaping your life whether you realize it or not. Distractions are silent killers of progress. They don't just steal your time, they rob you of clarity, of drive, of purpose. And it's not because people aren't talented or capable. It's because they're busy giving their energy to the wrong things. Every time you get pulled into negativity, drama, or someone else's opinion, you give away time you can never get back. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize they're doing it. Think about it. How much time do you spend scrolling, watching others live their lives instead of building your own? How often do you let someone's negativity hijack your mood or derail your focus? How many times have you promised yourself you'd start something important, only to be pulled off course by something meaningless? That's what distractions do. They disguise themselves as harmless moments, but they add up, and suddenly you're years down the road wondering why you're still in the same place. And not all distractions are obvious. Sometimes, they wear the mask of urgency. Pointless arguments, unnecessary meetings, social obligations you didn't want to attend. They seem small, but they steal the moments you could have spent moving forward. That's why the most successful people are ruthless with their time. They don't let distractions run their day. They don't chase validation. They protect their focus like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. You need to start thinking the same way. If you want to achieve something meaningful, you can't afford to be casual with your attention. You have to take ownership of your environment, your energy, and your decisions. And one of the biggest distractions of all? Other people's opinions. We give away so much power worrying about what others might think. We silence ourselves to avoid judgment. We shrink our dreams to avoid criticism. But here's a fact. People will judge you no matter what you do. So you might as well live boldly. You might as well build the life you actually want. Because the moment you stop letting opinions that don't matter control you, you unlock the freedom to focus on what truly does. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. You get more done. You move with clarity. You grow confidence, not from outside praise, but from proving to yourself that you're capable. That's the power of eliminating distractions. It creates the space for you to become the person you were meant to be. But here's the catch. This doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention. It takes discipline. It means setting real boundaries. It means saying no more often. It means designing a daily routine that puts your goals first, before comfort, before convenience, before anything else. It means cutting out what slows you down, whether that's toxic relationships, destructive habits, or anything that keeps you from moving forward. Because at the end of the day, success isn't just about talent or ambition. It's about alignment. And alignment begins with attention. Working hard is important, but working smart? That's where the real transformation happens. And working smart starts with one critical choice: protecting your focus at all costs. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're frustrated because you're not where you want to be, then it's time to ask yourself a simple, honest question. Where is your energy going? Are you investing it in growth, in habits that challenge you, build you, stretch you? Or are you pouring it into distractions, into habits, people, and thoughts that keep you stagnant? Because the moment you start taking your focus seriously, everything begins to shift. You move with more purpose. You see results faster. And most importantly, you start to realize just how much you're actually capable of when you stop letting distractions run your life. And the best part? Once you master this, it becomes a habit. Focus becomes your default mode. Progress becomes your new baseline. And all the little things that used to throw you off, they stop having power over you. Why? Because you've trained yourself to stay locked in on what matters. And that level of control changes everything. So don't let distractions steal your future. Protect your time. Protect your energy. And watch how fast your life transforms. Because real success, it's not built in one big dramatic moment. It's built in the quiet, in the small, consistent actions you take every single day. It's easy to get caught in the illusion that one massive change will fix everything. That one breakthrough, One perfect opportunity, or one stroke of luck will suddenly make your life fall into place. But that's not how it works. The truth? Success is the compound effect of self-improvement. It's built in the moments no one sees. The early mornings, the extra reps, the quiet nights of discipline and reflection. It's in the books you choose to read instead of the content you mindlessly scroll. It's in choosing action over excuses. It's in choosing discipline over comfort. Each of those small decisions might seem insignificant in the moment, but when you repeat them consistently, day after day, they begin to stack. And that's when the transformation begins. Most people never get there, not because they don't have potential, but because they give up too soon. They want instant results, and when they don't see them, they assume they've failed. But growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens below the surface, quietly, patiently, like a seed taking root. Think about it. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it. You nurture it. You trust that something is happening, even if you can't see it yet. That's how success works. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're strengthening your roots. And eventually, what you've been building in silence will break through the surface. But only if you stay consistent. The people who reach their goals aren't the ones who had one big breakthrough. They're the ones who kept going, especially when it looked like nothing was happening. And once the momentum kicks in, that's when things really start to change. One good habit leads to another. One win fuels the next. And slowly, success becomes your new normal. But it all starts with the small choices, the daily disciplines, the decisions you make when no one is watching. So be intentional with your habits. Want to be healthier? It's not about one extreme workout. It's about moving your body every day. Want to be more successful? It's not about one career leap. It's about showing up and improving consistently. Want to be more confident? It's not about waiting for someone else to validate you. It's about proving to yourself, through action, that you're capable. And the best part? You don't have to wait to begin. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to have everything figured out. And you definitely don't need permission. You just need to start today. Take one small step, then take another tomorrow, and keep going. Because if you stay consistent, if you stay focused, you'll wake up one day and realize that everything has changed. That's the power of the compound effect. That's the power of intentional living. And that's how success becomes inevitable. Proving to yourself through your own effort that you are capable. That's where confidence begins. The more you take action for yourself, the less you depend on the approval of others. Most people think confidence is something you're either born with or without. But that's not true. Confidence is a skill. And like any skill, the only way to build it is through practice. You don't become confident by thinking about doing something. You become confident by doing it, by showing up, by facing discomfort, by pushing through the fear instead of waiting for it to disappear. Here's the truth. If you keep waiting for approval before you make a move, you'll be waiting your whole life. Because not everyone is going to support you. Not everyone is going to understand your journey. And if you let that stop you, you'll stay stuck. You'll hold back. You'll shrink to fit a version of life that feels safe, but leaves you unfulfilled. Think about the most confident people you know. What do they all have in common? It's not that they're fearless. It's not that they always know what they're doing. It's that they trust themselves. They act despite the fear. They move forward even when they're uncertain. They don't wait for permission. They don't waste energy wondering what others might think. They just go. And because they go, they grow. They build evidence. Evidence that they can handle difficulty. Evidence that they can figure things out. Evidence that they are capable. That's the secret. Confidence doesn't come from feeling ready. Confidence comes from acting before you feel ready and discovering that you're stronger than you thought. Most people never feel 100% prepared. There are always doubts. There are always unknowns. But if you let those doubts decide for you, you'll never start. And if you never start, you'll never build confidence. The only way is forward. And here's the powerful part. Once you start taking action, your need for external validation fades. Because you're no longer waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. You've already proven it to yourself. That's real confidence. Not built on someone else's praise, but grounded in your own experience, your own evidence. This is why the people who take risks, who step outside their comfort zone, who face fear regularly, they radiate confidence. Not because they never doubt themselves, but because they've seen themselves overcome doubt enough times to stop fearing it. They've built proof. And with proof comes power. The best part? You don't have to be the smartest, the most talented, or the most experienced person in the room. You just have to be the one willing to take action. Confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. Every time you do something uncomfortable, every time you choose discipline over ease, every time you show up when it would be easier to quit, you're building that muscle. So if you've been waiting for the perfect moment, stop. If you've been hesitating out of fear of judgment, let it go. If you've been holding back, waiting for someone else to validate your dreams, realize this: the only approval you need is your own. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about trusting yourself enough to take the next step, even when you don't have all the answers. And when you start living like that, when you stop waiting and start doing, everything changes, because confidence becomes second nature. And once that happens, nothing and no one can stop you. Beneath the surface, growth is happening. Roots are forming. A foundation is being built. And then one day, that seed breaks through the ground. That's how progress works. Just because you can't see the results yet, doesn't mean they're not coming. But most people never make it to that breakthrough. They quit too soon. Not because they're incapable, but because they didn't trust the process long enough to see the results. This is why discipline matters. Because discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. Let's be honest. There are going to be days when you don't feel like showing up. Days when doubt creeps in. When the progress feels slow. When you question if any of it is even worth it. Discipline is what carries you through those days. It's what gets you out of bed when you'd rather stay under the covers. It's what pushes you to keep going when no one's clapping for you. It's not about feeling motivated. It's about honoring the commitment you made to yourself. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Motivation comes and goes. But discipline, that's what builds real momentum. The staying locked in when distractions scream for your attention. It's doing the work when no one is watching. It's choosing growth when comfort is whispering in your ear. And when you combine discipline with patience, that's when everything starts to shift. Because when you trust the process, when you stop demanding immediate results, you stop sabotaging your own progress. You stop quitting just before the breakthrough. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week, but underestimate what they could achieve in a year. They want fast results, quick wins. But real success doesn't happen in bursts. It happens through repetition. Small, disciplined actions. Repeated consistently. That's the formula. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're questioning your path, ask yourself, are you giving it enough time? Are you staying disciplined even when it's hard? Are you showing up for yourself every single day, even when it feels like nothing is happening? Because if you are, keep going. Your roots are growing. Your foundation is forming. And your breakthrough is coming. The results will show up, but only if you're patient enough to wait and disciplined enough to stay the course. The people who succeed aren't always the smartest. They're not always the most gifted. They're the ones who didn't give up. They're the ones who kept showing up, long after the motivation faded, long before the results appeared, day after day, consistently, without applause, without validation, just pure effort driven by belief. Because that's what it takes. That's how breakthroughs are built. If you can master patience and discipline, nothing can stop you. Success doesn't require noise. It doesn't require validation. It doesn't need an audience. In fact, the most powerful moves are made in silence. The kind of silence that's filled with action. The kind of silence that lets your results do all the talking. Too many people waste their energy talking about what they plan to do. Instead of doing it, they chase applause before they've earned it. They seek approval instead of building proof. Here's the trap. When you talk about your goals, your brain gets a reward, dopamine. The same reward it gets when you actually achieve them. Feels like progress, but you haven't moved an inch. That's why so many people talk a big game and deliver nothing. They've already satisfied the need to be seen before they've done anything worth seeing. But when you stay silent, when you stop explaining and start executing, you unlock a different level of focus. You stop performing for attention. You stop wasting energy on people's opinions. You stop needing permission to go after what you want. Now, all that energy is going into the one thing that matters: becoming. The most successful people in the world don't announce their next move. They just make it. No hype, no noise, just results. Because real confidence doesn't need to shout. And here's another reason silence is powerful. It protects your energy. When you tell the wrong people your dreams, you invite doubt, criticism, and negativity. You give them space to plant uncertainty in your mind. But when you keep your goals close, you keep your mindset clear, you stay in control. This isn't just about staying quiet. It's about staying locked in. It's about choosing not to be distracted by what others are doing. Comparison is a thief. It steals focus. It drains purpose. Convinces you you're behind when really you're just on your own path. But the moment you shift inward, everything changes. Because now you're not chasing trends. You're not performing for the crowd. You're not running someone else's race. You're becoming the best version of you. And that's when everything starts falling into place. You start attracting the right energy. You start seeing real growth. You start believing in yourself. Not because someone told you you're good enough, but because you proved it. Success isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the most consistent. It's about showing up when no one's watching. Staying committed when no one's clapping. Doing the work when it's hard, boring, or unnoticed. Because if you keep showing up, if you keep growing in silence, if you keep building when no one's looking, eventually the world will look. And by then, you won't have to say a word. Your results will speak for you.